Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to attempt number 2 of episode 201 of the Cannon Fire podcast. I am your host, as always, Rhett Matthew, joined alongside me, my good buddy and co-host, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. And before we do anything, since this is, the beauty of doing this stuff live, right? I guess we just have to roll with the punches here because, of course, the one night that we want to do a live post-game show, everything just falls apart. And now I'm in here manually fixing everything because everything fell apart. So bear with me, folks. Like I said, the beauty of doing this stuff live, we're going to get right back into the football action here soon. Don't you worry. But as people come flooding back in, thank you guys for coming back to find us. I appreciate you not leaving us out there in the cold. Evan, did I ever tell you about that time I almost had an aneurysm trying to do a podcast? One of the many times.
Wasn't it like 45 seconds ago?
Yeah,
Is it?
I
Is
mean
that time? Yeah.
one of several times. Listen, folks, technology sucks, man, and I don't know, I'm bummed out now. You know what I mean? We were rolling, we had a great show going, and here we are now, restarting like a couple of amateurs.
But the positive is the Bucs still won the football game.
They sure as hell did, didn't they?
They did.
How about that? All right, folks, we're going to get started here in just a minute. Don't you worry. I just got to get everything back rolling here.
How are we all feeling after the W? Huh? Drop it in the chat. Was anybody there tonight that's watching it from the car ride home? How was the atmosphere?
Yeah, man, let us know. All right, so let's continue our conversation. When we left off, we were talking about, some highlights on the defense, some guys who stood out in good ways. But Evan, we have been waiting to get into this rant of yours regarding the defense because let's face it, I think they handed Dallas this game a couple of times. And I'm sure you're about to cover all of that here shortly. But Evan Wanish, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, this was I thought this was almost borderline embarrassing. Dallas has a good offense. I've said it, right? People have criticized me for saying it so much. I get it. But come on. Are you kidding me? I don't know what I texted you. That game plan felt very similar to the same exact game plan they had on Sunday Night Football against the New Orleans Saints. What was that? Why are you giving them a 10-yard cushion on first down? Dallas was doing the same exact stuff. They weren't doing anything different. This is how their drives went. First down, a gain of about 6. Second and 4. They're already in an advantage there. Then either second down, it was either an incompletion or third and 1 or a first down. That's all it was. Every rinse and repeat. You thought, okay, maybe in the second half they'll get some stuff adjusted. Nope. It was almost like they were scared to death to get beat deep. But the Cowboys weren't throwing the ball deep. It's not like they were launching it down the field every time. I don't think Dak Prescott threw a ball over 30 yards the entire day. What were you scared of? I don't really understand that. The blitzing and the lack of pass rush. Like I said, some of that has to do with the Cowboys playing well. And some of the defensive struggles has to do with the Cowboys game planning and playing well. As if you were there in part 1 of the show, you would know that I credited, the Dallas's game plan. I thought they came out with a fantastic game plan. But come on, you made it pretty darn easy for them. You really did. When Jamel Dean on a 2nd and 5 is playing 10 yards off, of course Dak Prescott's going to throw that way. Of course he is. I think that was the most frustrating thing, that Dallas wasn't doing anything different drive after drive after drive, yet the Bucs weren't adjusting at all. You saw one player that I saw adjust to it, and that was Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis jumped a few routes. He started to pick up on what they were trying to do. Other than that, I don't think a single player actually picked up what they were trying to do. I really don't.
No, it led to Dak picking on a lot of guys the entire night. It felt like Jamel Dean was an easy target all night. With the injuries coming, Andrew Adams eventually got some targets. Ross Cockrell was kind of put in an awkward spot with Mike Edwards down for a limited amount of time. He gave up a touchdown, right after Mike Edwards was out of the game for those 2 drives, or 2 plays, I'm sorry. like it definitely felt like the adjustments weren't there for the entire defense. And I think that can be equated to just the ring rust, a slow start. Maybe not all the communication was there at the beginning of the game. There were some miscommunication problems. They even called a timeout later on in the game because there was miscommunication between a couple of corners who couldn't figure out what the hell they were supposed to be doing on that play. So, before we talk about the offense, because I definitely want to talk about the offense, I want to talk about Tom Brady, man. I picked a good day to wear this jersey. Let's talk about the penalties. Let's talk about what kept Dallas in this game, and let's talk about what ultimately almost lost the Bucs this game. I guess we can tie these conversations hand in hand, but just the sloppiness of the execution and the untimely penalties, the penalties that shot Tampa Bay in the foot time and time again. You cannot beat the team across from you when you can't even beat yourself. And there were a couple of calls where it was like, damn, really? Like, I will say that I've got my fair complaints about the referees tonight, but
also, well, one thing we can say is that's not a push off on Godwin, so don't even start.
Oh, dude, I don't give a damn if it was. I was on record.
It doesn't matter. It's not.
I don't care if it was. They let it fly. I mean, all the calls that they were calling against Tampa Bay, they were anal about stuff. It was every other play was DPI.
The Bucs had 11 penalties for 106 yards. 11 penalties is tied for the most in a game that Tom Brady's played. That's the most, tied for the most penalties. So he's never had a game where the teams had 12 penalties. Never happened. Dallas had 8 penalties for 55 yards. And while 8 penalties is a lot, 55 yards, it's very small. The Bucs were 106. You can't do that. You do that again, you do that against the Rams. You do that against even like a team like the Dolphins, I think. You do it against the Bills. You're getting beat. Like you are.
Well, and Dallas seemed to have this uncanny ability to where they would get a penalty and then they would kind of bounce right back. It didn't seem like the penalties they were getting slowed them down that much. If the Bucs got so much as a holding call or an offensive false start, it just killed the drive. Your momentum was done.
I remember texting you that right on that last drive that Dallas scored the field goal after that holding, and it was 2nd and 20. I said, if that's Tampa in that situation, the drive's over.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
But Dallas, they were able to make it. It went from 2nd and 20 to 3rd and 11 to first down in field goal range.
Yeah.
What in the world's going on? Like, what are we doing here? So, like, it's just crazy. And it seems like the Bucs just can't overcome the penalties. And it's insane to me that they still won the football game, because I literally said, I think this game could be, I think the only way Dallas will win is if the Bucs beat themselves and the defense has a pretty bad night. Both of that happened and the Bucs still won.
Yeah.
So that's pretty remarkable.
And a lot of what we're talking about, these defensive issues, or just not so much the defensive issues, but the sloppiness of the game, the ring rust, the terrible mistakes on offense and defense that brought up these costly penalties. I don't think that's going to be an issue for very long. If we've learned anything about this football team, is that the culture has changed enough to where you bet your ass there's going to be some adjustments made in practice this week, and maybe there's going to be some extra drills about getting the snap count down. Ali Marpet. A couple of other guys on that offensive line. Tristan Wirfs, I believe, had a holding penalty, even though it was kind of, 50-50. But just the costly penalties, Donovan Smith, and I think they said, I think they threw the flag on Brady, but it was Donovan Smith. And,
it was they called Brady's number and Smith's number.
Right. I mean, I really only saw Donovan Smith move, but I don't know, man. Just stupid shit, man. Like it seriously, it is stuff that loses you a football game. And as Bucs fans, we've seen it time and time again. So when this team starts to beat itself with penalties, it's almost like the Bucs of old turn their ugly head for just a little bit. And luckily, luckily you are a championship team now. And, on top of all the penalties, the Buccaneers also had 4 turnovers on the evening. Being able to overcome things like that is still a relatively new trait of this Tampa Bay football team. And obviously them coming out with the win tonight is huge, and it's a statement enough in itself. But, there were just a lot of preventable things in this game. Like the game could have been over 10 minutes sooner had Chris Godwin not fumbled. And that's not necessarily like a bad penalty, it's just a mistake, and it's another turnover added to the list.
Well, that's not a mistake. That's not a play that championship teams make, right? That's not championship football.
Yeah, sure.
That's not that to me. So we'll talk. Let's talk negative offense right now, and then we'll get into the positive. We can end on a positive note. We can talk the offense, and we can talk the special teams too, because I do want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, man. People's Champ put on a clinic tonight.
So as he always does. When Chris Godwin fumbled that football, I thought, I was like, holy crap. I was like, this is like the first time in like the Brady era where like this is like classic Bucs. Like not even like the Saints thrashing on Sunday Night Football. That was just a blowout. I was like, this is like the first one where it's like, you've got to be just kidding me.
The most heartbreaking type of loss you can imagine is classic Bucs, right? All the elements are there. Chris Godwin fumbled on the 2-yard line. Like it was
and that's why I was like, man, I was like, is please don't miss. I was like, suck up, don't let this be like Matt Gay versus the Giants. I was like, just don't. I was like, please, and I was like, because it just didn't seem like their night, and I was like, it's just their luck, Brady, the pass goes right off of Leonard Fournette and into the defender's hands. Man, it's just when that Godwin fumble happened, though, I was like, holy cow. I was like, they're gonna lose. I was like, they are gonna lose.
No, I was with you.
A lot of it's a team problem, but I was like, and it's Chris Godwin's fault. I was like, it's like, because if he just holds on to that ball, they probably score a touchdown, and it's a 2-score game. But nonetheless, they still were able to pull out the W.
And on the game-winning drive, Chris Godwin able to redeem himself. He had that huge reception, brought the Bucs just outside of the 20. Time. Yeah, man. While we're talking about the negative on the offense, there were a lot of great things happening on offense tonight. Tom Brady and Antonio Brown, that connection is absolutely insane, right? Just a great connection between AB. Business was definitely booming tonight. Chris Godwin got me damn near 30 fantasy points. I know we talked about, the fumble, but a pretty strong night for Chris Godwin. He was another one of those targets Brady was able to go to. Let's talk about Big Mike Evans, man. I am not a fan of the effort that I saw out there. Like, I don't know if it just wasn't his night. I don't know if he was lost. I don't know if his head wasn't in the right place, but Mike Evans did not look like Mike Evans. And granted, he didn't get targeted that much, but when he did, he wasn't ready for it. There are 2 plays I can think of. One was the, I believe it was 2nd down, forced to 3rd down on the game-winning drive, and it was Micah Parsons went up with an absolute, like OBJ, he almost got the interception, right? Barely got a fingertip on it, slowed down the ball. Mike is standing there with his arms like this. The ball bounces off of his left hand, and it didn't even look like he made an attempt to move towards it and get it. It was almost like he lost the ball and wasn't expecting it to hit his hand. And then earlier in the game, there was a similar situation where the ball goes barely over the defender. Mike is right there, hits him right in the hands, and he doesn't reel it in because it didn't look like he was ready for it. What was going on with Mike Evans tonight?
Well, the one you mentioned there, I can say, he probably maybe should have caught that one. But the other one, that's just, I don't know if there's a single receiver in the NFL that's going to catch that ball. The one on the final drive, I just don't know if anybody's gonna catch that ball. That was maybe it was
farther than I thought it was. Like maybe it wasn't.
That was like legit like deflected.
I remember it was an incredible play by Parsons. He jumped way the hell up there.
I think it was Diggs. I think
was it?
I do want to mention Parsons though. How about shout out Lenny?
Yeah,
mossing like a Parsons.
Yeah, that was the play of that drive.
Dude, what was Brady doing? I don't know what that was.
Oh, I'll be honest. It reminded me of that play in the Super Bowl that, even though Patrick Mahomes lost, everybody lost their mind when he was falling and made that sidearm throw. It was almost like Tom Brady's version of that. It was a lot more clunky and slow. I'll be honest with you. When he moved up in the pocket and he fell down, I thought he crumpled, and I thought like, oh my God, he just tweaked his leg or something, because I thought something awful had happened. But
anyways, Mike Evans, 6 targets, 3 receptions, 24 yards. Tom Brady. I mean, targeted him early a little bit, and then after that, just not a whole lot. And I they'll be fine. Mike will be fine. Might have been some of the coverage. I see. I wish I could tell you I'll look at the film, but I can't do that. Thanks, Game Pass. I wish I could tell you that I'd look at the coach's film, but
I
can't
can't
do it.
believe they're still holding out on the all 22. No update at all about that.
It's the same price though. It's the same price tag, same $100. So
Unreal.
Pay the same price, but we're gonna take away one of the biggest features there. So good on you guys. Good job.
So we mentioned Leonard Fournette, and he definitely made some plays. I think he was without a doubt the stronger running back tonight. But I have a question about Leonard Fournette.
Can we just go with no running backs? Can the Bucs do that? Because I don't think any of them are good.
So let's run back the series of events. Leonard Fournette was the first running back of the night. Offense stalled on the first drive. Actually, no, they scored on the first drive. I don't even remember. It's been like 4 hours.
The Bucs off on the first game of the first drive of the game?
Yes.
The Bucs offense with 3 and out.
Yeah, they went 3 and out. It was 2 runs to Lenny, and then it was a pass that didn't happen. Which I predicted on the pregame show, just to kind of bang my chest again. But like, why are we throwing screen passes to Leonard Fournette and not Gio Bernard? Because the interception that Brady had, the 1 of 2, which were, we'll talk about Brady's stat line here in just a minute when we talk about the good that the offense was able to do in this game. But like, why the hell was Lenny getting the ball thrown to him so much in those situations? It just felt wrong. And granted, a couple of them, he got pretty close to a first down. They were positive yardage, but it's like, what is Gio doing out there? You know what I mean? If he's not out there, what's he doing?
Yeah, why'd you sign him? Like, if he's not going to be that guy, why'd you sign him? Dude, Leonard Fournette lined up more as a receiver than he did a running back tonight. Like, What was the game plan there? Like, I don't know. He freaking cost Tom Brady an interception because the ball goes right in his hands. All he would have had to do is beat one guy, and he would have had like 10+ yards. But no, he can't catch the freaking ball. I don't know, man. Ronald Jones can't hang on to it running it. Leonard Fournette can't hang on to it passing it. I don't know. Is Keyshawn Vaughn the best running back on this roster? Am I just an idiot? Am I the idiot? Is this just all one big rib on me?
Let's talk about Ronald Jones really quickly. So I started talking about the series of events that played out. Lenny was the first running back of the night. Ronald Jones got in the rotation, I believe, after a couple of drives. Then you saw it go back and forth. But the key moment that put Ronald Jones in the doghouse for the rest of the evening was a key fumble that was the first of 2 straight turnovers at the hands of these running backs. 2 straight plays. Ronald Jones with the fumble. Cowboys recover, and they turn it into points. And then Lenny cannot hang on to the ball, tips up in the air, and in Buccaneers fashion, it is a Tom Brady interception. Tom Brady played lights out tonight, by the way. We'll talk about that shortly. I'm really excited to. But, Ronald Jones, man. I mean, it's week 1. So I'm not really one of these people who's going to come out and say that, it's over. Like somebody put in one of our group chats, the Ronald Jones experiment is over. Like, no. But, Leonard Fournette's probably going to be your first halfback next week.
But he shouldn't be. That's the issue. Because Leonard Fournette caused a turnover too. And that's the issue I have with it.
Right. Is that Rojo was
Ronald,
in the doghouse?
If Ronald Jones, like, why? What's the difference? It's not because Leonard Fournette's better, because he isn't. Like, Leonard Fournette is not better than Ronald Jones. I don't know. I really don't know. It's weird. It is weird. But they used Gio on the last drive. Gio caught 2 balls on the final drive, so that was good to see. But every time there's a pass thrown to Leonard Fournette, I'm like, oh, he's dropping this. I'm like, he's dropping it, and somehow it's going to be a turnover.
Well,
like, somehow it's going to end up in the defender's hands.
Even if he catches it, it's one of those things where it kind of takes him 2 seconds to reel it in and get going again. You know what I mean? Like, the defender has plenty of time to close in.
It's almost like he's not a pass catching running back.
Wow.
That's almost what it's like.
Wow, that's a pretty bold take, if I do say so myself. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and talk about some of the good from this offense. And then
Yeah,
we'll start
really. You would think the Bucs lost by like 20 though.
I know. I hate to put out such a negative show, but you got to get all like the bad stuff out of the way, right? I mean, we can be honest on this show.
We're not going to BS.
I think that's the goal of our podcast. Like, we're very, very happy that the Bucs won, and we're celebrating. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I got my Super Bowl banner hanging behind the TV. Everything's all bucked up in my house. Like, that's how we roll, right? We're very excited, but we got to shoot straight. And you know, if you ask Tom Brady how they played tonight, he probably isn't too happy about it. He's happy they got the win, but you know, he said in his post-game interview on NBC that I was watching, they still have a lot to work on, and that's just what we're trying to cover now, so we don't have to talk about it too much later.
And Bruce Arians is pissed.
Yeah,
he was.
Oh, I bet.
At halftime when they interview him, he was.
Oh yeah,
I think.
Well,
what the heck did he say? They didn't do a single thing. He's not happy with a single thing or whatever.
Pretty much for the radio section of the interview. I think it was TJ Reeves he was talking to. He's like, you know, Dallas didn't get a damn thing. We just gave it to them. And that's a great way to describe how Dallas was able to hang into this game. Checking in on the live chat, G Vegas says positive is you didn't hear Donovan Smith name called all night, so that is great for an offensive lineman.
He did have that he did that penalty. They played okay.
Yeah.
Brady wasn't sacked, right?
He was not. No, you are correct. They did not get a sack on Tom Brady. And let's talk about is it Randy Gregory? I'm sorry that I'm blanking on his name, but
Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence are two guys.
Randy Gregory was giving Tristan Wirfs an absolute fit tonight. You know, it was a little bit of a stalemate, and you wouldn't really be able to notice it unless you go back and watch it. But there were a couple of times where Gregory was able to just kind of move 78 out of the way and make a play. And I can't remember the last defensive lineman that I've kind of seen do that to Tristan Wirfs, other than, you know, Khalil Mack. But Khalil Mack isn't a breed all by himself. But I think defensively, the defensive line of Dallas did a pretty good job, even though they didn't get any sacks on Brady.
I mean, come on, let's talk about Tom Terrific here.
Let's do it, man. It's about damn time, right?
Let's do it. So with a minute 25 left in the game. I don't think there's anybody else that you'd want to have the ball.
No timeouts, man.
There was one timeout. Should have been two, but there was one.
There was one timeout that they burned, and they had to burn it after
because
the penalty.
The 10-second runoff. Yeah.
Exactly. They avoided the 10-second runoff by burning a penalty, so they kind of had to use it. And I believe that put 55 seconds left on the clock or 54 seconds because if it would have been,
there was 50. Yeah, it was so it would have had to been a 10-second runoff, or you keep the timeout. And I think they made the right decision. Some people actually thought they should have taken a 10-second runoff, but nonetheless, they still won the football game.
Yeah, that's damn true. Let's talk about this stat line for TB12. 32 for 50 attempts. 300.
I didn't think he threw that much.
Yeah, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns. Granted, 2 interceptions. The one interception was the Leonard Fournette tip pass that we had talked about. Yeah, 4 on the day.
That's how many you threw?
That's how that. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Cool.
4 touchdowns on the day. 2 interceptions. The one was the tip pass on Lenny.
Both of them were BS.
The other was like, you know, a 60-yard Hail Mary at the very end of the half that I'm surprised they even pulled.
Which I am shocked that thing didn't go the distance. I thought Jordan Lewis was taking that thing to the house. And it was just him versus Ali Marpet. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, man. That would have been rough. That would have been like the longest pick six of Brady's career, probably.
That might have been the longest pick six of all time.
That's very true. But yeah, man, Tom Brady, I mean, he was absolutely surgical tonight. Aside from the 2 turnovers, which again, we have kind of established weren't entirely his fault. Tom was just on it, boy. And, you know, I think he was probably the most prepared person on the offense. We'll talk about his leading receiver, though. Number 81, Antonio Brown. Business was booming. And how about that, 50-some yard connection from AB to Tom? I mean, Tom, starting out the season, man, you can see how much more comfortable he is in this offense. Yeah. The connection that he has with his receivers and the way that they can just make something out of nothing. Antonio Brown with an incredible performance. He showed that he obviously still has it, which everyone has been hyped up about over camp. But very excited to see where this connection can go and just the endless possibilities. You know, a terrible night for Mike Evans. He still got 3 catches, but you still have Chris Godwin putting up numbers and Antonio Brown having an awesome night. So it's like there's always options. But I do want to get your thoughts really quickly on the first half play calling. We didn't see a whole lot of Tyler Johnson or Scotty Miller until the second half. The Bucs played.
Did Tyler Johnson play?
Yeah, he had a target, and it wasn't. Yeah, he did. It wasn't catchable, but he did have a target. But we didn't see those guys in the second half because the Bucs played a hell of a lot of 12 personnel in the first half. We saw Gronk get a lot of targets too. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, great game for number 87. But yeah, that first half play calling was I don't know. What were your thoughts?
Way too many runs on first down. It's almost like Byron Leftwich was just trolling all of Twitter with as many runs on first down. The thing is though, like they were actually like on first down when they ran it, like to start the game, like in the first half, they were 4 yards, 5 yards, which is actually very good on first down. But just stop doing it. Like your best, you know what your best down offense. Why? Like why? All right, Dallas threw the ball 58 times. Okay, like Elliott barely touched the ball. Like, yeah, I know they lost, but like they still put up a heck of a fight. Because they know that their best asset is the pass. They know that their best chance to win was to pass the ball. The Bucs' best chance to win is not by running the football. They're not going to be one of these teams that's going to ground and pound a team and going to control the time of possession and going to have 200 rushing yards. Stop trying to be. Like, don't. I understand trying to set up to play action. You didn't use that a whole lot today. It's just just stop. Like, I'm not one of those guys that thinks you have to pass it on every first down. Oh, first down runs. No. But like it was getting a little ridiculous. Like every single first down in the first half, they were running the ball.
Well, the thing about the Bucs running the ball too is that obviously they bring it out of 12 personnel a lot, but it's like they're a very hard-nosed running football team. They don't necessarily try and get their backs out in space, one, because they can't really catch. But two, like there just isn't. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of desire for the offensive play calling to get, Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette a little bit of space or try and move them outside of the numbers.
It's not designed that way though. That's why.
Right.
It's just a Bruce Arians offense is never going to be designed that way. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why Byron Leftwich is trying to force the thing. A lot of people are saying a whole lot of money, right? Yeah, from Boomin University too, right? I want to get a shirt that says Boomin University. I'm committed to Boomin University.
Yeah, man.
Ryan says Dallas defense is scary. If by scary you mean bad, then you are correct. But if you're talking about scary good, go back and watch the game.
Oh, I mean, look at what Dallas did. They brought in a lot of defensive guys in the draft. They got a couple of guys in free agency, but really the biggest difference on their defensive side of the ball, they got Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator. And who sucks? I mean, he's a much better coordinator than he is a head coach. But for a lot of people, a lot of people who expected, his presence to be felt on Dallas's defense tonight, I think was obviously let down. And most of those were Dallas fans anyways. But it's going to take a little while for Dan Quinn to kind of get situated over there. And I don't know how much better he can make their defense. You've heard about, he's developed a good culture over there and guys like him from what we've heard out of Dallas camp. But like, they're still the Dallas defense. Brady was able to go out there and do his thing. Really quickly, let's talk about the stat lines for some of your Buccaneer leading receivers. So like we mentioned before, number 81, Mr. Big Chest himself, Antonio Brown, 5 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Godwin, 9 receptions, 105 yards, and a tutty. Would have had 2.
It's a shame. Like what are people going to remember most of it? I feel like it's like a very split. Like they're going to remember that back shoulder throw, but they're also going to remember that fumble.
Yeah.
Like I legit do think it's going to be split. That they're going to be like, well, the game could have been over, but Chris Godwin did this, and then later he caught that. I think it's going to be pretty much split. That they're going to be remembering that.
It's your glass half full, half empty people. Whoever decides to remember what about this game at the end of the day, it does not matter because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 1-0. and they
Yeah, I'll
beat
just remember
Dallas
that the Bucs.
Cowboys.
Yeah, that the Bucs won the game.
Exactly.
So now also, if the Bucs would have lost, I was going to come on here back. Well, at least we know Brady's won the Super Bowl because every year Tom Brady starts 0-1, he wins the Super Bowl. So
That's the conversation I was having with myself.
that's what I was thinking to myself.
When
I
I
was like,
thought
well,
this game was over. I was like, well, a guaranteed Super Bowl lock at this point. Another great receiver tonight. We mentioned him a little earlier. Rob Gronkowski, 8 receptions for the big man, 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that's probably his biggest stat line as a Buck, right?
I think so.
I don't know if he's had over a 100-yard game yet.
No, I don't think so. I don't even know if there's been games where he's had multiple touchdowns in a game.
Yeah.
Oh wait, besides the Super Bowl, he might have gone over 100 yards in the Super Bowl, maybe.
They kept throwing out stats about like the connections between him and Brady. They said it was his 100th touchdown, and then they said it was his 86th, but I guess it's not counting the postseason.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Gronk, I think, got his 100th career touchdown tonight, which was pretty damn cool. And it was that heads-up second touchdown.
Tom Brady played in his 300th career game.
Yes, he did. A lot of history to be made with the 2021 Buccaneers. Really quickly, let's cover some stat lines from Dallas just to make sure that we talk about it. We talked about Dak Prescott having a strong night. He went 42 for 58, which, by the way, for a guy coming off of a shoulder injury, throwing 58 passes definitely seems like he's going to be ready to go for the rest of the season. 403 yards, 3 touchdowns for him.
One quick note on him, though, just for Dallas fans and stuff. He looked good. It didn't seem like he was 100% to me.
Yeah,
it did.
Well, he wasn't letting it rip.
Some of his throws didn't have the oomph on it. Like some of his throws just didn't have it, and they didn't take any deep shots. I think some of maybe it's not the ankle that's bothering him. Maybe it's that shoulder a little bit more.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. To wrap up the rest of Dallas's performers, Ezekiel Elliott, 11 carries, 33 yards. Averaged 3 yards per carry against the NFL's #1 rushing defense. Tony Pollard, who we talked about, kind of, being a little bit more of a concern at times than Ezekiel Elliott, especially with the receiving aspect of things. He had 4 catches on the day, 29 yards, though, so the Bucs did a pretty good job at the end of the day wrapping him up. I know he had a couple of critical catches, but really big day for a pair of receivers for Dallas, though. 13 receptions for Amari Cooper, 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb also broke 100 yards, 7 receptions, 104, and a tutty for him. So yeah,
it's not a great night for the Bucs secondary, man, as we alluded to on the show, on their game preview show. But
yeah,
it's not a great night.
I mean, honestly, I think we've covered just about everything we needed to from this game. This is, a cannon fire post game, one of the first editions.
We can't ignore special teams, though. We can't ignore.
Oh, we Bradley can't. Pinion. You're right. I don't
Bradley
even know
Pinion,
how.
The people's champ. Let's give a little golf clap.
Right.
Let's give a little golf clap, huh? The people's champion, Bradley Pinion, friend of the show, Bradley Pinion, putting absolute bombs out there, man.
Oh yeah,
that first one was a booming. You want to talk? He's going to booming university,
and it wasn't even. It wasn't even. He didn't get an assist from the gunner down at the end of the field. It was just a beautiful piss missile all the way down to the 2-yard line. Thing of beauty from the people's champion.
All the kickoffs were in the back of the end zone. Boom, man. And then also, I do want to acknowledge Jadon Mickens having a nice little return.
I think his best game as a returner over these last 2 seasons.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I do think so as well.
It sucks that his best return in a Bucs uniform.
I thought that was going house. Yeah. I thought that was a house call. And then obviously we got to talk Ryan Suckup.
The best for last, man. The man.
I will never make your kicks as gone from the checklist. It is gone. Want to know why? Because he did it. He checked it off. Greg Zuerlein didn't. Greg the leg didn't.
Holy hell. I think somebody said it on Twitter before I did, but the ghost of Dan Bailey is still somewhere in Raymond James, causing other teams kickers to mess.
It's a Cowboy. Dan Bailey's a longtime Cowboy, and then he goes to the Vikings, and it's just he's haunting his old team now. That's what it is. I don't know. And then I do have a quick take bag if we have anything, if we don't have anything else.
Oh yeah, man, you're good, brother.
Okay. Guess how many snaps OJ Howard and Ronald Jones combined for tonight?
Oh, man. I don't know if I want to guess. 40-something.
6.
No way. I was under the impression that OJ Howard was getting some work early, right? He was out there for the beginning of the game, and that was it?
I'm not lying to you. Midway through the third quarter, I think I saw a tweet from Joe Bucks fan that was like something about OJ Howard, and I was like, not lying to people. I forgot he was playing on the team tonight. I didn't see him once. I saw Tom Brady a few times. I didn't see OJ Howard once.
No, I do agree. I don't remember seeing him on the field.
I don't remember. Maybe if he was getting work in on the sidelines, getting guys Gator. I don't know. I didn't see him. I didn't see him once. I really didn't. So those guys, like, they did a nice disappearing. Obviously, Ronald Jones, we all know what happened to him. Yeah, I didn't see OJ Howard. Like, I didn't know he played. Like, honestly. Like I said, we talked about the offensive line. I thought the offensive line played solid. The Jensen thing, though, with the taunting.
Yeah.
Bucs fans better get, if that's what they're calling for taunting, Bucs fans better get used to it because he's getting one a game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely not going to be the last time we see Ryan Jensen called for taunting in any form. And it's kind of weird that, he took a punch to the face. And he was the one who got called for taunting, not the guy who retaliated and smacked him in the helmet.
I understand they called a personal foul, but, like, how is that taunting if he punches you in the face? It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's stupid.
I remember watching the replay, and after he gets punched, Jensen looks right at the referee and is basically like, "Are you going to throw a flag?" Ref throws the flag, and it's on 66.
Well, you saw the ref's face, though, right?
Yeah. Well, when they had the microphone on eurier in the night too, it's a personal foul.
We'll just say,
let's just say it's a. Let me turn. I'm curious. Oh man, I wish I would have known what he was going to say.
They're just making stuff up as they go along.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that it was this.
Let's just say that he held him, and then. Oh man. Other than that, not really much else. A good win. A win's a win. It's not pretty. Look at it this way, folks. The Bucs had 11 penalties, more than they had in the Chicago game. They had 10 in the Chicago game. So they had one more penalty than they had in the Chicago game, plus 4 turnovers, which they did not have 4 turnovers in the Chicago game, and they won the football game. So if you're going to look at anything positive from a negative, take a look at that. All right. A W is a W, 1-0, never a doubt, even though looking at me and Rhett's text messages, there was plenty of doubt. And if every game is going to be like this, I am going to be dead by the end of the year.
Yeah,
because
my blood pressure can't take this.
Can we just, like, can we not, like, can they just go out and just beat the Falcons by like 20? Like, can I just be able to chill for the fourth quarter? I figured, man, when they scored that Gronk touchdown to get 28-19.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, all right, it looks to be in all right shape. I was like, I'll be able to just relax for the fourth quarter, be able to get on here, talk about a nice win. No, God was like, are you kidding? No way. And Tom Brady was like, don't worry, I got you. And then Ryan Suckup was like, I don't suck. I'm going to close this deal. And also, shout out Bradley Pinion for the excellent hold on the field goal. It's not possible without Bradley Pinion. Not possible without our people's champion. So quick shout out to Bradley Pinion. Bradley, we'd love to get you on the show soon again during the season. I know it's tough, but the invitation is open. You have an open invitation on this program.
Great friend of the show, Bradley Pinion, the people's champion for a reason, and victorious tonight as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 1-0 on the season.
So David Cardano wants to make fun of my mustache. He says, poor Evan's mustache is going to disintegrate if there's any more games like that. You might be right, actually. I don't know what's going to happen to me if there's more games like this.
G Vegas said the refs made sure the Bucs didn't cover the spread tonight. Damn it, man. Listen, if you guys are going to be...
That's for sure.
If you guys are going to be betting, by the way, BetOnline...
I know a place.
Huh? Yeah.
I know a place. That's for sure.
BetOnline.ag, very proud partner of the show and one of our main sponsors. Glad to have these guys. This is our second season in a row with BetOnline, and they're the best for a reason. If you sign up today, download their app, or go to their website, you will get up to 50% extra on your first deposit. Great stuff, man. I mean, football's back, right? You got multiple bets going. Like, I'll tell you this, dude. If there was a prop bet on Ryan Jensen getting a taunting penalty tonight, that dude won big.
Take it every time. Take it every time.
Right? That's probably going to be your safest prop of the year. You're going to make
Well,
some money
I will
on
say
that.
one of my two favorite prop bets was I would have hit. I didn't bet on them, but I would have hit on both of them. It was Tom Brady. The over under was set at 2.5 for passing touchdowns.
Oh,
and I would have taken the over.
Oh yeah.
And Antonio Brown, the over under was 58.5 receiving yards, and I would have taken the over. Willie Beeman, Dean Pease is definitely going to be scheming up for the Falcons on the 19th. Looking forward to that. Dude, Dean Pease is like 100. Okay. Like he whatever. Like Tom Brady's younger than him.
Oh man. Oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you to every single person who has stopped by. I know it took us a minute, but we are actually back up to about 75 viewers, which is where we were at when the stream dropped the first time. So thanks to everybody who found their way back to the channel. If you have not already, make sure you subscribe. We got plenty of great Buccaneers content. And let's go over our schedule really quick for the season, right? On a regular week, it's a little bit different, but for this week coming up,
a regular week meaning when they play on a Sunday. That's
right?
What we mean.
Right. When the Bucs are not on Thursday or Monday Night Football, the week's going to be pretty normal. But since you're the Super Bowl champions, of course, you're going to be on prime time more than any other team in the league. So we'll have some adjustments to make. But I believe this Monday, we're going to take a little break throughout the weekend. We got our post-game show out now. But this Monday, we're going to be introducing a new show that we're going to be doing this season. It's just a mailbag show. Whatever you guys want to talk about, take a couple of days, digest the game. We got the emotional reactions out of the way, so we want to get some things that you're really curious about. Maybe you went back and watched the game again, something popped up on film, and you want to talk about it. That's what it's there for. But if you want to get a head start and get your questions in, cannonfirepodcast@gmail.com. Of course, if you follow us on social media, there's going to be links and stuff there too. We're going to, open up the questions any platform you find us, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. First question, I guess we'll get a head start and then we'll wrap this thing up. Spencer says, looking ahead, how do you feel about the Falcons? Probably crush them, right? Yeah, I think so. I think
that's what everybody thought about the Cowboys.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they definitely don't have Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott's going to make some noise this year, man. I mean,
he's going to be good. He'll win comeback player of the year.
Probably. But I definitely don't think the Falcons are going to be nearly as prepared for the Bucs as Dallas was. Atlanta,
one thing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say Atlanta, we have said plenty of times. I think we both said it on the season prediction show. We have them pegged for last in the division. It's probably not going to be very close. Atlanta, as a football team, is not in that great of a place right now. So I think it might not be a little bit too early to say the Bucs are probably going to win that one.
Yeah, I think I just think the Falcons are in a rebuild. I mean, the one thing I will say the advantage they will have is they have a new head coach and they get the Bucs early in the year. So there could be some stuff that the Bucs have not seen yet from the Falcons. But I mean, just talent wise, I mean, I know the Bucs are talented, more talented than the Cowboys, but like the Cowboys are more talented than the Falcons.
Right.
So even though it is a divisional game, sometimes divisional games are close. I think the Bucs are going to be motivated to play a cleaner game, and we're just going to have to see. 2 words though, Kyle Pitts. He's going to be fun to play against. Okay, I mean, I keep hearing all this stuff about Kyle Pitts. Did you see OJ Howard tonight? Like everybody was like, about like talking about this, like OJ Howard. Oh, look, the tight end's like a wide receiver. Wait until he plays a game, okay? And then we can talk about Kyle Pitts being a matchup nightmare. If he goes out there and terrorizes Philly, whatever, right? Like who cares? And then I don't care about Kyle Pitts. Matt Ryan's old. The Falcons have no run game. Their offensive line stinks. Julio Jones is gone. Calvin Ridley's their only guy. He scares me. I'm scared to death of that guy. But and the Falcons defense, like I said, it's their defensive coordinator is in a Walker. they have no talent on the defense. Like, I think Dallas has more talent on their defense than Atlanta does. All right. So Tom Brady is like 10-0 against the Falcons. He's not going to lose to them. Like, just not like Tom Brady is like in the Falcons' heads, like firmly in the Falcons' heads. And so, they can go screw themselves. Okay. Anyways, on a more serious note, before we did head out, I did want to say with normally we wouldn't really do this a lot, but this year it's a special occasion, the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. I know that, like I said, normally we don't talk about this kind of thing, but I figured it's a 20-year anniversary. It's important to say something, and just it's tough to watch stuff on it. It really is. But just thinking about all the families that lost so many loved ones that day, and the NFL did a great tribute before the game, and just want to put a more, I know it's a more serious note to end off a good podcast, but just wanted to put my thoughts and prayers out there to anybody that's been affected by 9/11, and sorry, and we love you all. You guys are American heroes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's important to talk about. A majority of our audience is probably American, and any American either knows somebody who was affected, has family members who were affected, themselves were affected. People remember stuff like that. So I definitely think it's important to talk about, but very, very good, showing some solidarity there. Pretty good stuff, my friend. Well, folks, that is the show. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Cannon Fire podcast. The Buccaneers are 1-0 on their 2021 campaign. The title defense starts out with a nail biter, but they get it done because that's what championship teams
I can't believe
do.
that game ended like that. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I seriously can't believe it.
I can't believe it, buddy. I'm going to watch the game again tomorrow, probably.
Are you? You're going to put yourself through it again. I'm just going to stick to the highlights. I can't put myself
go
through that
to
again.
YouTube for the good stuff. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Best place to go for updates on the show. And of course, Buccaneer news as it happens. Speaking of Bucs news as it happens, you can follow my co-host on Instagram at Bucs_daily, the #1 Buccaneers fan page on Instagram, rapidly approaching 30,000 followers. Follow myself on Instagram. Oh, I'm sorry. You can also follow Evan on Twitter if you want to. He's not going to follow you back.
Relax.
But you can also find him on Twitter at EvanNFL, where he will not follow you back. But I'll tell you who will follow you back. That's myself. Instagram and Twitter at Rhettakus, RHETTAKUS. That's it, man. The next time we talk to you guys, it is going to be our mailbag show. So get your questions ready. Send them over to cannonfirepodcast@gmail.com. or hit us up on any of our social media outlets. And then after that, I believe will be our next game preview. The season is rolling, dude. I mean, it's
starting.
It's here.
In.
Football's here. A game has already been played. It counts. And the Buccaneers are 1-0 and still technically first place in the NFC South. You'll love to see it. But yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for checking out this podcast. Shout out to our moderators in the chat. Willie Beeman holding it down. Glad to have you here, my friend G Vegas, David Cardona, among anybody else that I might have missed.
Thank you guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We know it's late. We know it's late.
For real.
So it is. Thank you for tuning in.
It is 1:30 in the morning on our side of the world. If our guy Pete's still here, he probably fell asleep. But God, it's like 6:30 a.m. over at Pete's end. So thank you guys for staying up, talking some Buccaneers football with us. We look forward to doing it again soon as the title defense is officially underway. We will talk to you guys next week on Monday, I'm thinking. And after that, we'll be back in business with our regular game preview and very, very, very special guest coming up here soon as well. So don't forget that. Maybe it was the guy who was supposed to be on 200. I don't know. You didn't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me because a lot of people were very upset that we called James up from the practice squad for that.
I know. Everybody called me a liar.
Oh, man. All right, guys. We're going to wrap this thing up. Good night. Go Bucs. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Cannon Fire podcast presented by our good friends over at betonline.ag. I'm your host, Rhett Matthew, signing off from my co-host, Evan Wanish, and we will talk to you guys next week. As always, go Bucs.